So I would describe both of those things as very, I guess, like just trying not to necessarily follow the mold of like what's popular right now, not trying to fit in, but actually more trying to, you know, try new things and take chances by doing that. So I do that in life and I do that musically. Like I'm a really adventurous person and I really like to take chances with music too. So I think maybe that's why this song in particular is kind of getting the reaction that it's getting because it's just like not exactly what's on Spotify right now or on the radio right now. Yeah, well, I'm also a songwriter for other artists,
Mhm.
and I'm originally from Vancouver, Canada, and I found that being in Vancouver was really difficult to like plug into the music scene because it's such a small scene there. So I packed up my apartment around 5 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, and I was like, I don't know where I'm going, but I'm just going to like chase this dream. I can't believe I was like kind of crazy enough to do it, but I'm so, so, so glad I did because it ended up taking me to like over 23 countries, writing with different artists and for different labels and working with different DJs. And it's just been such an amazing, amazing adventure. Um, and then through that, what ended up happening is I ended up finding a really amazing team that was like, can we release songs with you? Because we really like your voice. And so that was just really a fun surprise to kind of have at the end of this like really crazy whirlwind of pursuing, a career in music. Well, I found Europe to be so interesting for me because particularly Sweden, because Swedes have such amazing pop sensibilities and production ideas. And for me, like I've always just been a really like melodic songwriter, and I really love to sing with these like kind of daring melodies. And I found that to be so satisfying working with people in Sweden. Um, and so it was just a natural kind of place for me to land. And Europe is definitely an interesting market for me. There are so many people focused on LA. And when I kind of saw that happening, I just thought, I want to do it differently. Like, I don't want to just kind of throw my hat in the ring in LA and just like try to, swim and tread water there when there's just so many people trying that method and um and not necessarily having anything positive come from it. So I don't know, it wasn't really a conscious decision. It was just more that doors started to open here. And because I have my British passport, I was able, up until Brexit, I was able to, spend a lot of time in Europe over the last 5 years. And I mean, it's cool because it's ended up with songs coming out in Asia and Australia and like all other places in the world. So, it's not necessarily just confined to Europe just because you work in Europe.
Sure.
But I did also meet my husband here. So, now we live in Sweden and I'm in our home studio right now. And during COVID, that's been mainly where we've been making music. In some ways it's so much easier to like look at another person and to kind of ask them, if you're working with them, to ask them questions and dig into their story than it is to like excavate yourself and to kind of look at yourself with A&R eyes and ears and to figure out exactly like what you want to say. So it's a very different process. And I think what's also difficult too is because I sing on so many demos, I have like all these different girls that like live in my throat. And so it's finding my own sound is also really difficult compared to working with another artist that already has like a distinct established sound. But that's also kind of part of the fun of doing music for me now as well, because I get to, like I said, take all these risks and explore in a way to see what really works for me and what really connects for me. And that's a super fun process. I didn't It's challenging, but I didn't know how rewarding it would be too. Yeah, but I love both. Like I couldn't pick if I had to. Yeah, well, that whole record actually came about um, through a company called Position Music, and they're based in LA. And they approached me because they do a lot of work for like film and television and TV advertisements. And they were like, "Hey, like, how would you feel about putting out a record?" And it actually was this thing, this very casual thing that I kind of signed up for, I guess a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. And so I was writing that record all last year, and it was super fun working with that team in LA because again, like they're like longtime friends and colleagues of mine who I've met over the course of visiting LA before my whole European leg took over. Um, and yeah, we just had a total blast. And I think that like the fun thing about that process for me was I didn't want to be shy about what I was saying, like I really have opinions and beliefs that I and values that I stand for. And so you can hear a lot of that reflected in those songs. It's very much a record that is made up of songs that are not um passive, like they're really much about like a lot about like being heard and about standing up for yourself and believing in what you do and breaking out of roles that people expect you to stay in. And so for me, that was just a really fun project to be a part of. And we don't have like, I'm not promoting any singles from that album, but I'm still really proud of the songs and am currently working on my next radio single. So yeah, it's just been really nice to put out content too, so that people get to know me better as a person, what I stand for, and to also hear like different sides of my voice because it bends in a lot of directions. Well, Habit is a song about being stuck in this place of trying to let go of somebody that you're addicted to. And I mean, I think what what I've discovered through releasing the song is that so many people have their own personal way of relating to that, whether it's a relationship or something they're trying to quit or whatever the case. Like we all kind of have the ability to become quite addictive to something in our lives, even if it's not good for us. And so I had this kind of notion when I went in to write the song with my team, non generic. And it was just actually a really super fun day when we wrote it because I wanted to also poke fun at myself for the struggle, like it's not always helpful to just be like, oh my God, this is so serious and this sucks and I have to quit you. It's also this like, oh my God, like what's it gonna take? Like this is harder than I thought. Can we just like take a minute here to acknowledge that? So we had like some production thoughts about things we wanted to experiment with, like some songs that I grew up listening to, like with Milli Vanilli and like all these other kind of outside influences mixed with like some really fun new songs. Like people often say they hear like Tones and I influence in the song, or like BB Rexa or Anne Marie, which are definite influences of mine. And so we just wanted to kind of throw this all into a pot and then just be as kind of weird as possible with like the harmonic structure. I mean, there's three key changes in the song, and some people notice them and some people don't. But we just wanted to be really musical about it and like see how far we could push the song into a place that um, isn't necessarily what is happening right now. Um, on digital platforms. And even the guys, when I was tracking the vocal, they were like, sing it more weird, like how annoying can you be, let's just like see what kind of voice comes out, because they know that I like to push myself in different directions vocally. So it was a really fun day, and most of the song was like complete that first day that we wrote it. And then we just went back, obsessing over whether or not we should have key changes in the song. And at the end of the day, I'm so glad we ended up keeping them because it's a point of conversation. Like people notice them. And people who notice them, like they love them or they hate them. And for me, like that's more interesting than having a song that's just going by and like nobody notices. So it kind of was a little bit of a flag for me that we were doing something right by taking these risks. And then of course you don't want to take too many that people are like, what is this? So yeah, that's how the song was written.
You just a habit. And I know I gotta break. I know you know good for me, but I can't stay away 'cause I'm an addict.
It feels kind of surreal, to be honest. I am so used to being like behind the scenes and watching other artists get their success and connect with their audience and being one step removed. But this time I get to be the one that connects with fans and interacts with them and gets to hear their reaction and laugh at some of the comments that I see online. And it's really cool to have that like human connection, because I love people and I'm super social, and like I think it's so much fun like hearing where people are hearing the song and what it means to them and where they're at in life. So I'm overwhelmed, but yeah, it's a really amazing feeling to just have this like support. And it also feels like there are people like rooting for me that have never even met me, and that's just like what that's just, that I am so grateful for that. Like you don't get anything guaranteed to you in this business, and like I learned that a long time ago. And however hard you work, whatever you put in this business is what you get out of it. And I know that I've worked really hard, and it still just feels so amazing and crazy that this is happening, and that so many people are connecting with the song and then reaching out to me and wanting to connect with me. So I just have to remember that like everyone's a person. Like that helps me a lot. Like everyone's just a person like me, and that helps me to not feel like intimidated or like scared of the fact that that this is happening. um so yeah, I just want to connect with as many people as I can. Yeah, so me and my team have been working on the next single, and we're so excited about it. And again, we're just it's just more of like digging into this creative process and seeing what else like is coming out, seeing what else I have to say. So that's coming in the really near future, my new single, like really, really early next year. And I'm also going to be playing a lot of live shows, which I'm so excited for because I love performing live. We've put up some live performances of Habit on my YouTube and had an amazing response to them. And some artists I think are really like geared towards studio, and I definitely am, but I love playing live. Like I've done so much of it over the years and can't wait to play more shows next year. So definitely I'll be doing some dates, and hopefully people will love the next single. Yeah, I would just say a few things actually. One is like focus on the song, because without a great song, like you really don't have anything. And sometimes that it can take, if you're starting out, it can take years to write like that smash. But when you have it, like you have it, and it will be undeniable, and people will pay attention, and it will open a lot of doors for you. And the other thing is to just be as kind and friendly, as grateful as possible, because like I said, nothing's guaranteed in this business. So um, it's every like no one owes us anything. And to just understand that putting in those 10,000 hours is just a part of the process, working hard, um, and finding cheerleaders is really what's going to help in the long run. Just be sure to go visit check out the music video, and be sure to leave a comment and share the song if you like it, because it actually like is making a huge difference for me. And I totally appreciate it. And if you reach out to me, I'll do my very best to respond and stay connected. So I hope that people will just join me on this ride because they're invited.